If you're tuning in now or after the live, please make sure to hit that like button as it will greatly help push this content. We're going to go through this in a very professional manner. We'll take a look at XRP before the daily close and see exactly what needs to happen. But as everybody is getting in here, now that I scared you, I'm going to play this. This happened with Sam Bankman-Fried. He takes the stand without a jury, and this is crypto law, John Deaton, watching this and reacting to it. So I wanted everybody to see this so you can see the escalation right now in the Sam Bankman-Fried case.
John, you know what? I love that you have those brass knuckles necklace because, oh my goodness, this, you know, one thing I always try to tell people, to me, this is not a crypto story. This is a story of unbridled greed, unbridled hubris, and also the strongest, wealthiest people in this country. They've abused us for so long. Silicon Valley backed this guy. They gave him their stamp of approval, and so I hope that this somehow this case brings out everything, not just one person, but everything behind him to show that the system is not only rigged, but it's arrogant as hell.
100%, Charles. Thanks for having me. Listen, and let me tell you, I was watching your show as usual, and you brought up the Taylor Swift effect. Unless he's got Taylor Swift coming in as a character witness, this boy is cooked. And you are 100% right. You've got two things. You've got greed of Silicon Valley and Wall Street and politics. And when you combine those two elements, which were both behind this guy, you get Bernie Madoff or you get Sam Bankman-Fried. And that's where we're at today.
You know, it's unfortunate because the media keeps making it a crypto story. And then, of course, we have the thing with Hamas, and now we're hearing that the role of Bitcoin and things like that. Even though Bitcoin, by the way, on fire.
Mark, Sully, Derek, welcome in. Miss Vicky, I'm sorry I've been missing some of the lives, but I watch every video and I'm learning heaps. So appreciative of you and your expertise and exactly who you are. I so appreciate that, Miss Vicky. That's why I always say if you're watching now or after the live, I like to lump the ones in after the live as well because you're all very important. Not everybody can watch all of these, especially in real time. So we'll get into time stamping this, but I greatly appreciate the support from everybody. Just please make sure to hit that like button. It really does help. Some days are better than others. As you know, 2 days ago we had 175 people in here. Today we might have 50 because of how it is in the market. It's a little redder, so most people will tune out. But I still like to tune in and I like to put out the content. So let's finish watching this so you can hear what John Deaton says. And then we'll start to timestamp this and we'll get into the technical analysis. Just know, I appreciate each and every one of you to the core. OMC, welcome in. Donald, good evening. Welcome in, future millionaire indeed. John Hall, good evening. Time difference is very difficult. I completely understand that, Miss Vicky. I really do. Free Toast, welcome in. It's been a long time indeed. Let me finish this and then we'll timestamp it.
Looking incredible, and so are some of these other cryptos. What do you make of the general media, the general spin that it suggests that somehow there weren't any crimes? Crimes are never committed until cryptocurrency was invented.
It's incredible. And here's the thing, Charles, they never let the truth get in the way of a good story. When you have the FBI, the CIA, NSA, when all of them come out and say that they hope criminals and terrorists use crypto or Bitcoin as a source of funding, they hope that because every time they do it, they get caught. How many billions? Did you know the United States government is the second largest holder of Bitcoin today? Why? Because dumb criminals used an open blockchain ledger open to the public to use as a source of criminality, and they got caught. So Elizabeth Warren and the rest of the team should be ashamed of themselves for this false narrative.
So we got this moment now. The spotlight is on the...
This is where John Deaton's an invaluable tool here for XRP. When he's on this kind of a vendetta, when he's speaking this language, I really do appreciate when he talks like this. He's putting him out on the ringer right now. You know, this is the side of him I really do appreciate.
Industry again, and you have been a hero. You've been heroic in the things that you've done and tried to do on behalf of individual investors. What would you like to see come out of all of this?
Well, I can tell you right now, I'm a little bit envious because I wish I was the assistant U.S. attorney who's about to engage in the cross-examination of this fraudster. And like you said, make it clear, this has nothing to do with crypto, all right? This guy didn't even know or understand Bitcoin. All he was doing was stealing people's money to make his political donations, to buy his luxury real estate. And so what I want to see is I want to see those that you brought up. How does Wall Street back a guy and they don't even ask questions like, who's on your board of directors? A $34 billion corporation, and they don't have a board of directors. And so there's a lot of people that need to be held accountable. Where are the notes of Gary Gensler, who met with this guy twice? Charles, testimony in this case was that Sam Bankman-Fried gave $10 million to the administration for the purpose of access. Right. And he met twice with Gary Gensler, the CFTC chair, everyone.
We got to leave it there, my man.
See that? See that? Watch this. He touches on the exact truth. This is the exact truth. Listen to this last part John Deaton says, and for this, he should be applauded because I can't get on Fox News and say this, but he can. And God bless him for actually saying it. Listen to what he says right here at the end. This is the hardcore truth.
In this case was that Sam Bankman-Fried gave $10 million to the administration for the purpose of access. Right. And he met twice with Gary Gensler, the CFTC chair, everyone.
See how he cuts him off right there? That's how you know he just hit the cusp of it. That's exactly what was going on, and that's exactly why Sam Bankman-Fried was allowed to run free and defraud all of us, because it was going towards a political gain. Political gain, imagine that. Good evening. 7:16 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Thursday, October 26th, 2023. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. Can I be honest with everybody? God, do I love doing this. You have no idea how much I love doing this. Like, some people tell me you're going to get burned out. There are times that come and go when you do feel burned out because you're going over the same narrative. Things might be going down. People's, mental status might be, bringing in the negative energy, or maybe not negative energy, but the uncertain energy, which always makes it interesting. But I love doing this on a day-to-day basis because you don't quite know who's going to come through the door, but you also don't exactly know what's going to happen. We know on a pattern perception basis that we have a setup, but look at last week. Remember or 2 weeks ago when we said death cross on the charts, in the daily, everybody telling you why it's going to go down, the media telling you, the social media, everywhere you look, it's bearish for crypto. And I said it doesn't smell right. That formation down didn't smell right because they're not just going to tell everybody to short the market if it's ready to be shorted. So what happens? We get into a moment on the charts here, which I think is very identifiable. We were, excuse me, I was hitting this cannabis coming into it because we did the trunk or treat, which is trick-or-treating for the kids. So we took the 10-year-old and the 4-year-old, which, my son, he got into that car accident, so it's hard for him to be in social settings, but he did it. He went through today, so it's a big accomplishment for him, and there was a lot of loud noise, and he didn't complain one time, and he was there for a good 45 minutes, so, I'm extremely happy right now, too. So he's doing good. But with XRP, we had this big drop-off. We had a dot cross here. As you can see in the dot cross, if you don't know, is the 20-day, which is the red line, coming through the 200-day, which is the blue line. So this red line came from all the way up here, came through the 50, 100, and ultimately the 200, which is this dark blue line. Then it got rejected here, started to break down, but we hit the rising channel. Or, well, not the rising channel, but the uptrending support. It's a basic bear flag, but it ended up, instead of being a bear flag, you could say it formed a bull flag within it, but the grand scale was a bear flag with a bull flag within it. So what ended up happening is it looked like it was going to come down to the 2020 uptrend down here. The technical move is down here. After the pull down, if you broke down, the technical move was down at 35.5 cents roughly, 36 cents now. But what did we say? It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. Mo, good morning. Everyone hit the like button as appreciation. Yes, thank you so much for saying that. I greatly appreciate that. Let's see how many have done it. 61 people in here now. I'm actually pretty surprised. I didn't think we'd have more than 50 tonight just because of how the market is. 37 likes. Please make sure to hit that like button. We don't want to let Mo down. No. After all, Mo takes his time to come in here, so let's make him look good too. Let's make him feel good. Make it look like, because his word does matter. His comment does matter, so let's show that it matters and get some likes. Joshua, welcome in again. That's why we love it, because we feel your true authenticity. Thank you, Miss Vicky. I do appreciate that. Good or bad, I don't know how to be anything else but authentic. So, you get the good and bad. Yes, little Tommy is a champion. Jose, welcome in. Watch, recycle, repeat. That's right. Watch the content, recycle it to friends and family, and repeat by coming back and watching the next update. So simple, but so hard to do. ATK, welcome. I think I already said welcome, and he's just talking to Miss Vicky. Free toast. We're going to get it. I need to see somebody else comment. I need to grab. Julie took my lighter. Well, actually, I think it was her lighter, to be fair. But I would like to continue relaxing, because it just feels like the right thing to do. Son of a bitch. I just took off my... I just ruined the bowl flag. This isn't even supposed to be the one with the bowl flag. Well, I guess it is. Who's to say it's not supposed to? Yeah, this is the one that I had like this. So what I'm going to do... I don't want to keep confusing us. Everybody's probably like, what the hell is all these lines? I'm just going to put it in the grand bear flag, okay? Just so we're not confused. We don't have to speculate with the rest of these patterns anymore. So that's what ended up happening. We were in a bear flag. Let's just call it what it was. It ended up being a bear flag. We ended up breaking out of it. Nothing more, nothing less. And now 55 cents is a major resistance. 57 cents over the top. If we break 57 cents, then we can finally start to be like, okay, now we can start to move up, and we can start to contend with this rising channel from June of 22. And this setup, since I did it from the bear flag perspective on the other chart, this is the bull flag. That's why it was so, look at how in disguise this is. This is the bull flag when it pulled up. It formed a bull flag, in my opinion. Instead of coming down, it can still be looked at as a bear flag from here, obviously. But look how it came down and formed what looks like a jank bull flag. I called it for what it was, you know, and it's playing true to that bull flag. This is the bear flag. So if you were breaking down, you would have just expanded it out and called it a bear flag. You could have even went farther down. I acknowledge that. You could have even done this. But I was choosing to expand it out so you could see it from the wider angle. But this is the true bear flag. Because I'm sure somebody's going to say something like, oh, we wouldn't have had that evidence in the beginning. But like I always say, don't be afraid. But look how this bear flag played out. So if you put the true bear flag, it actually went to the apex point. It could have went a few more days longer until October 24th. But it ended up popping out on October 23rd. So basically it went all the way to the end. It did it perfectly. The apex point hit perfectly. So like, it's not that I'm making a prediction. It's that I understand the pattern and I can recognize it. And I have the mini pattern within a bigger pattern. And then I have the longer term that goes back, from XRP, the longest pattern I have on here is 10 years old. It goes all the way back to 2013. And that's the very bottom uptrend. I'm never saying it's going to get there, but that's the 2013, if we ever went back to the 2013 uptrend. That's how we know. We don't want it to go there, so what we're trying to do is we're trying to see if we've now started a new trend, which I believe we have. Until it breaks the 2020 uptrend, we've started it's a new trend. Now we don't have to go to 2013, 2017, because now, like 2013 at first, and then 2017 here, now all of a sudden 2020 started its own thing. We had a breakout here finally in 2020. We came up in here in the 2021 bull market all the way to $1.98, came crashing down at a historic level and pace, and the 2020 uptrend still showed true. Not just did it start here, came up parabolically, right? That's a nice spike here. We go from 11 cents up here. We had an 800% increase. Crashed that entire way, but the 2020 uptrend for the first time said, nope. This is the new support. Came all the way up. Hit the pattern resistance that I'll pull out here so you can see the exact resistance, how far back it goes. Came back down and said, nope, 2020 uptrend is still intact. Came up, consolidated, said, nope, still respecting it. Came up, nope, still going to respect it. Went up, nope, still wouldn't even come below it. Formed a bear flag that we have a little bit of strength in here. Came to the top side. Now are we making a move back up to 85? We won't know until we break down these little levels, but we like to have the grand scheme in front of us so that we know exactly what's going on. I think it's so awesome when you can see everything lining up just like you expect, not being surprised. And now nobody has to ask the question, and this is why I keep explaining it, the importance of the 2020 uptrend and why when I sold at $1.66, ready? Everybody thinks I'm some great genius in 2021. And I said this in 2021. Yes, you can give me credit because I recognize the formation almost better than anybody. Because I'm not biased to it. But we had this info in 2021. We knew we were in a downtrending resistance. The moment we failed in 21 to break this downtrending resistance, I knew we were screwed. That's not me saying I'm the man. I've already said, ready? I already said I never sold at the top. Well, if I'm so smart, why didn't I sell here? Because I still had the hopium. We came all the way down to like 90 cents. Came back up, and when we got rejected in here at $1.60, at $1.70 a few times, I said, uh-oh. And I was live on air when we hit that $1.74, and I'm like, oh, shit. And I said, we're out. When we did this, had a V-shaped recovery fail, hit $1.70, fell down, hit $1.70 again and fell down. I'm like, we're done. At $1.66 on the way down, I said, and I made a grand statement that said, I'm liquidated out of all my cryptos, and I'm not buying back until we hit the proper area. And I said sub 40 cents is where I was buying back. I even called the first big dump to 52 cents on the nose. For anybody who was here in 21, that's why so many people followed. That's the secret. If you're new, in 2021, I called 52 cents when I sold out at $1.66 and said it was going to drop there. Then I said we'd have a rally, and then I said I wouldn't buy back until sub 40. You should have seen the commotion in between. I could have been called everything in the book, but you know what makes me stronger now? Because I have that to fall back on. You know, in the face of adversity, you have to stick to what you think is true. So this is easy. Everybody thinks this is hard. This is so easy now because I was able to make the profit and then buy back in the accumulation phase. I can't even tell you how much credibility it gives, not just for the audience, but for myself in trading. The audience is one thing, but when you have credibility within yourself and you can trust yourself and be like, oh, I know something for a reason. So then I started to put it all together. I said, you know what? I know the short term, I know the long term, but what about the in between the micro and macro? What about the mid-cro? You know, because nobody ever talks about the mid. There's always the mid. There's the bear market, there's the bull market, but then there's the mid. We can call it the mid market. You sit in between the mid, it's the mid level. You sit there for so long, that's the consolidation phase. But in this case, it's the accumulation phase because we're trying to come out of a bull market. So that's just what I'm going to call it, the mid-cro. So I'm more about the mid-cro. I speak from a macro level. I watch the charts on a micro level to keep it interesting day to day, but I'm a mid-cro kind of guy. I just am. Only because the long for the macro is the accumulation. You're accumulating for the macro perspective, but that's the holding part of it. The micro is the accumulation phase. That's the micro perspective of the market and understanding at some point these things I'm buying now after holding for some time from a macro perspective, but buying at the micro level because you have to buy in these levels, that leads it into a grand scale. Now, the mid-cro is the most important though. This is everything that's happening between a micro and a macro level. Everything in between is the levels we talk about that nobody wants to watch. Everybody either looks at the market from a micro level or a macro level. They're either short term, I'm going to futures trade, I'm going to leverage trade, I'm going to fucking mortgage my house off to try to make a few bucks in the leverage trading business, or mortgage my XRP just to probably lose it anyhow because of the inconsistencies and volatility in the market. You can look at any indicator you want. It would have told you to put a short in. Every single one of them was flashing bearish, and I warned everybody they were looking to liquidate the shorts. How many times did I say that over the last month? Looks good now, but I'm telling you, they're coming for the shorts. They're not just going to have Michael Berry on TV and everybody else telling you that they're going short. Yes, the Dow looks like hell. The NASDAQ looks like hell. But at what cost? They're tricking you. And let me just tell you something in the Dow right now. Please pay attention to this. This. See this? See this? See this broadening wedge? This would just come back and validate this. That's not breaking that. This is a big W reversal in the making. That's considered a bullish Gartley right now. This completely formed a broadening wedge, which is telling us that more than likely we're about to break out, as long as we don't break the broadening wedge. If we come down here for support and ride it and we break, we could be going to 37,000 or 40,000. This is telling us something's not right. This didn't just happen by accident. This is a very bullish pattern that's happened. It's very volatile. And now when everybody thinks it's about to dump, which it might dump initially, it's going to go crazy. Love Talcoin. Don't hold it, but love it. I don't know why I don't hold it now that you brought it up. That is one that I can slap myself now and be like, why are you not watching this right now? I don't even know what it's at right now. Is it under 1 cent now? Because it was up to like, I know it was coming down. And oh, 1.5. Oh, wait a minute. 0.0. I meant 0.01 because it was coming down. Not 1 cent. That was a long time ago. I was watching Talcoin. Look at this. I was watching. These were the support levels that I was looking underneath. I remember when I was putting this out a long time ago, people thought I was fucking nuts. And I pointed out that fucking... Oh my God, it actually came down there. I pointed out that structure and told everybody not to buy. And look what happened. And that's when I stopped watching it. Everybody was into it. The whole audience in 21 was telling me to buy it back here. And I said, I can't. I'm going to be able to buy it for multiple zeros. And I blew it. It actually came down there and I blew it. Look at that. 0.009. What an ass. Wow. I wish you would have had that comment literally in September. I mean, do you know how easy, even now, to buy 10,000 tokens of this is dirt cheap. Dirt. What would that cost you right now? What's it, 0.001? What's that? 10,000 tokens will cost you what? It's the mid, which feels so good to hold. It does feel awesome to hold XRP to me, too. Let me see something real quick. I gotta see something. I'm just looking at something real quick. We'll take a look at the XRP market cap real quick after this. So, Talcoin. They still don't have it on here. I mean, unbelievable. Do you know how many places don't have Talcoin? It pisses me off. But no, Uphold doesn't have it. Yeah, 15 bucks for 10K. That is so dirt cheap. Yeah, Miss Vicky, there certainly are a lot of good projects. If you know which ones to look at, oh man. Someone's going to be, not someone, us. Let me preface that real quickly. Where? You know, it's a shame I dropped the joint. I don't know where it went. Oh, there it is. Hold on, everybody. I'll be right back. I promise. I got to go get the lighter. But there is something. There's something that we can all love. And we'll go into the XRP market cap after. And if you don't watch this particular person, everybody's going to be like, oh, he's going to put up Peter Schiff and blah, blah, blah.
Week in spending, but Powell intermittent big 6 studies demonstrate multi-place.
All right, Peter.
So go to OxyHealth.
This is what I want you to hear.
Talking about Jerome Powell's ridiculous comments that he made to questions asked of him at his talk at the Economic Club of New York. And first off, I'm talking about Powell's misconception that economic growth is what causes inflation. And if he wants to lower the inflation rate, he just has to slow down the growth of the economy. And that's BS. Now, when Powell's talking...
So if you want to understand what's going on in the truth, here we go.
...about economic growth, he's talking about consumer spending.
One more thing. If you like Peter Schiff, XRP, or just appreciate being here, give me a hell yeah in the comments. We did that earlier, and it was a big ruckus, even though there was only like 40 people here. It was nice.
So looking at the spending numbers, retail sales,
And hit that like
numbers,
button. Hit the
GDP
like
numbers
button.
too that are influenced by consumption, both by the government too, and the individual, because government's spending a lot of money too, and a lot of the money that people are spending, they're getting from the government, right, in the form of checks. But that's not economic growth. That's just spending. That's not growing the economy. That's spending what a growing economy produces. Except a lot of the growth is happening in Asia, in other countries, because we're spending on imports. And we're also borrowing money.
I love it.
Debt is at record highs. I mean, the reason that consumers are spending more is because they're paying more, number one, right? Prices have gone way up, so everything costs more. And they're borrowing more to pay those higher prices. Now, some of the consumers, as I mentioned, have had to take on second and third jobs to pay those higher prices. So,
remember what we talk about here a lot, everybody? It's the people with 2 and 3 jobs, and they're making it look like more people are joining the workforce. But they let you count as 3 different people if you have 3 jobs. That is ridiculous. If I have 3 jobs, you think I want to work 800 hours a week? Or 21 hours a day? No. I'd rather be home. But if I've got to work 3 jobs to pay for the bills, I'm going to do it. And that's what Powell's not telling us. And that's not what the government's telling us. They're making it look like everything's great, but it's not.
if you're just looking at the spending and you think, oh, we have this really strong economy. No, it's not a strong economy. You're looking at inflation. That's what's going on. Inflation is driving this spending. It's not a strong economy. And you don't need to weaken the economy to reduce inflation. You just have to reduce the spending. And how do you do that? Well, you know, much higher interest rates, much higher than we have, but the government has to cut back on spending. They got to, you know, cut back on welfare spending, or they even raise taxes and start paying down debt. But it's much better if they just cut government spending. But also, interest rates need to rise high enough so that people spend less of their paychecks. Again, we don't want people to stop working. No, if they stop working, they're not producing. That means there's less stuff. That puts upward pressure on prices. We want everybody to keep working. We just want them to stop spending everything they earn. They need to take some of their paychecks and save it, put it in the bank. But they're not going to do that because the bank's not paying any interest. And even if you get interest on a government bond by loaning your money to the government, which doesn't help the economy, when you put in the bank, at least it could be loaned out to a businessman. But when you buy treasuries, you just, you know, the money's going to the government. They're just blowing it on consumption. But people aren't going to save when the interest rates are still not high enough to.
And remember, the government is nothing more but what? The buyers and sellers of last resort. Get that through your heads. The buyer and seller of last resort.
Compensate you for inflation. So we don't want to weaken the economy. We want to weaken spending. But Powell doesn't know the difference. He thinks spending is the economy. He thinks that it's the consumer that drives the economy by spending money. I went over this last podcast. No, the consumer is the caboose. He's driven by the real engine of the economy, which is production. That's what we need more of. We need a stronger economy, but we need less spending, less consumption, more savings, more investment. None of that is happening. Powell doesn't understand that, so nothing that he's doing is going to be effective at bringing inflation down to 2%. Now, another thing that Powell did is he blamed today's inflation on the pandemic. He kept saying, well, it's the pandemic inflation, like everything was fine, and then this pandemic happened, and now we have to deal with the pandemic inflation, and it's just taking longer to just get rid of this, you know, pandemic inflation. Again, the pandemic is not why we have inflation. The Fed is why we have inflation. Congress, the president, are why we have inflation, and not just Biden.
Hey, if you don't believe me, I'm not saying this. This is Peter Schiff. So, if you want to yell at somebody, I'm sure you could email Peter Schiff or go into a show. I'm sure he would love to have you. Just tell him I sent you, even if you criticize him. But I really think everybody should follow Peter Schiff. He tells the truth. And he has every reason to. Go look at what happened to his dad, Irwin Schiff.
But Trump and the presidents before him, they were all contributing to the inflation problem that we're dealing with today. Now, did we create even more inflation during COVID? Yes. We made the inflation problem worse, but it wasn't COVID. It wasn't the pandemic that did it. It was the government's response to the pandemic.
Okay, Peter, thank you. And before you get me on the blah, blah, blah and get me banned or some garbage. So hopefully you guys paid attention to what he's saying, because that is so on the money. I get a lot of my toolage, and I learned a lot of my stuff when I was first starting, years and years ago, down this road from Peter Schiff. So, you know, some could say I'm trying to emulate him in a way, at least the way I do things in my personal time with my personal expenditures, let's say. But with XRP, the 29.58 billion, we're still trying to push up here ever so slightly. But we're starting to look better. We have a bullish cross here in the daily. We could call it a golden cross, seeing that we recrossed here. Or not a golden cross, but or should I say in the daily, we've invalidated the death cross. That's what I was trying to say. We've invalidated the death cross. So, JW, you know what I'm talking about. I had to suffer a 1 week suspension. Remember, I had to start a second station, and somehow that station went to partner. I just stopped talking on it. You know, I don't need 2 stations. They thought they were pushing me down, and then we got a second station to partner. Wasn't that funny? Anyhow, so that's what we're looking at. That's what we're looking at. But I want to see it come up over at some point here to 30.89. 30.89 billion. That's where I'd like to see it. That's where I'd like to see it. Yep. I think I got a mosquito just bit me. Can you believe, or something bit me? What was that? I definitely feel like something bit me. Definitely a mosquito bit me. Darn it. Well, you know what? They got to eat something. It's 73 degrees it got up to today. Tomorrow's our last 70-degree day, it looks like. So I won't have to deal with these mosquitoes for much longer, I can tell you that. So yeah, 30.89 billion is where we're looking. We're in this rising channel. And if we do come up to the top and we see XRP around 63 cents, we should be coming up towards that 36 billion. I love you too, JW. Aussie, welcome. They have to lie. Imagine if they all said the truth. Oh my, exactly. They can't. They can't. So, and then I guess the only other thing I want to say, I mean, we've been here for quite some time. It's already been 32 minutes. Has it really been 32 minutes? Man, I talk. I just talk. 94 people here, though, so at least you're liking what I'm saying. That's good. 72 likes. Please make sure to hit that like button. It does help push the analytics. It does. I mean, if you don't want to hit the like button, you can always send a YouTube super chat. Make it spicy. Join Tom's Army. But really, it's so easy to hit that like button. And it does push us through the algorithm, and we can have more people have an active discussion here. But XRP here, we're 17 minutes until the close, and I want to finish off this live by just talking about what we're trying to do here. We're trying to stay before the Tanya, welcome in, love, have to go back from the, yes, you are going to have to go back from the beginning. A lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. But while you're here, what we're trying to do, and Tanya, actually, while you're here, look, HBAR. I won't make you wait. HBAR, because I wanted to hit HBAR and XDC in this live. So HBAR, we've had the nice W reversal, as we've talked about. And now I've tried to make a drawing of where I thought it was going. So these are the possibilities of HBAR. And I think it's probably going to take the up route. But these are the possibilities. 2 of them lead to the promised land. 1 of them does not. So everybody kept asking me, those are your possibilities, and why I can't just say, hey, it's bullish or bearish. Because unless it takes the top route, this is the bullish route up here. This could be a bearish or bullish route, and this is clearly bearish. But right now, it still looks like it's got to bounce a little bit. We still look like we're coming up no matter what, the 573. So that should be something to see. So that's a good thing. So Tanya, I hope that helps with that. And then XDC at 496. We're in this falling wedge, it looks like. Falling channel, some could say. But it looks like it could be starting a very wide W reversal. And if that's the case, it's not just going to break out of this. It's going to come up to 575. That's what I think it's probably trying to do here. If I was a bet man, I would say we're probably trying to break out of this. We look like we're putting in a big inverted hammer. That's a nice inverted hammer. So that's a very bullish signal, especially if it breaks out of here now with this W reversal that it would have put in. These are all bullish signals here. We're trying to not have a death cross. If it breaks out, we end up coming up here to 575. That's where we would push. That's a big breakdown that we have not invalidated what could be a massive breakout in time. But we'll see how it works out. I don't want to give up any hopes or give any hopes, false hopes. But that's what we're looking at. Yes, Roger, you can always ask the questions. I want the promised land, please. Thanks. I do too. I do too. But Roger, you can always ask a question. XLM while I'm waiting for the question. Long leg doji here. So are we signifying that we're getting a little bearish here? We don't know. This could be a fake out, but you don't really want to see that kind of a pattern when you're moving up. Could we come back down to revalidate? It's possible. But if we do break down here, the technical move down is going to be down around 8.7. I don't think we're quite done yet, though. I think this is going to be a fake out, even if we come back down. If we look at this in the 4 hourly, we've had a golden cross here. So do I necessarily think this is done just yet? No, I don't. Even though we're trying to invalidate the death cross, which would help if we could validate this golden cross, which had to happen by coming to the 200 to see which one's going to play out. The 4 hourly golden cross or the daily death cross. We needed to validate it. So right now we're looking at that 11.2 area. We're well above 11.2, so unless you see us below 11.2, you should not worry about it if you're an XLM fan, if you think it's going up. It's like XRP, you should not be worried right now. This is a beautiful close. This isn't going to show you because that's the rising channel, but this is a beautiful close. You just want to stay above 55 cents and validate it day after day until you move to the next level. This could be an inverted hammer. I would like to lean towards this as an inverted hammer candle. Even though we did have a pull down to 54.2, I think that was overzealous sellers getting a little nervous. I do. I think people were getting nervous, and you had a liquidation when it came below 55, and it dragged it all the way to 52 to get all the longs out. And I think it ended up being an overzealous liquidation because people panicked. And they probably had stop losses in, and you know, when you put stop losses in, that's the key to the machine to where you need to go. So that's why I don't like stop losses. But as you know, depending on how high your leverage is, you're probably going to need to use it if you're over a 10x. Even a 6x is pushing it. 5x and lower, you can probably get away with not using it because you can ride out any kind of move. But how often do we see a 15% flash drop in minutes? You know, that's what you can't predict. But it looks like, to me, XRP is in good shape right now. In the daily, it's in good shape. It's invalidated at the moment. The death cross here, just remember, it's invalidated this. So now that more we can stay above 55 cents, the longer it's going to take for this pattern. It's kind of consolidating right now. It's trying to work its way back up and invalidate this death cross and then have a bounce out. Then we can start playing with the weekly. The weekly, we have not invalidated the weekly golden cross yet. We've just converged like I kept saying. And then we speculated a W was being put in, but we wouldn't know until that arm started forming, and it did now. But look, this is forming a massive inverted hammer. It really is. This is forming a massive inverted hammer candle. Does anybody else agree? Would you agree that's an inverted hammer in the weekly right now? Yes or no? Is it forming an inverted hammer in the weekly? That's all I want to know. Let's see if why did you move to FEMX from uphold just to... No, I didn't. Listen, Roger, I didn't. That's a great question. I didn't move from uphold to FEMX. I just buy stuff off of FEMX and send it to uphold if I'm going to do it. Or if I'm doing my stuff on Winning Wednesdays and FOMO Fridays, that's all on uphold. I buy it all on uphold with everybody. But XRP, I'll buy on FEMX for cheaper cost or MEXC and send it over to uphold. And then if you want to send it to a wallet, Zoom. That's the one that I will send stuff to because I trust it. But everything that I do, 10,000 tokens. Some I have more, but like with XRP, 10,000 is what I would say is the accurate amount where you at least need to get that if you can do it. 10,000. Not everybody can do it though. First time around, I had 7,200, and I managed to make 12,000 in profit in 2021. So, but this is what I'm looking at, and some said yes. So yeah, if that's the case, if we do get validated, as long as we hold 55 cents, we won't have to come down to 538. If we come down to 538, it's not the end of the world. It's just then we have to revalidate 55. So now what we're looking for is the close above 57. That might not happen until this candle closes the week around 55, which we know what that means. It's only Thursday. That means we're going to have a weird up and down here. But that means we can go all the way up to 58.5 here and keep going back and forth. So right now we've got anywhere from about 5.3 to 58. So that's a 5-cent range right now. And the lower it gets, and it's so crazy to say, but if this does get down to 52.5 and not break it, that inverted hammer would be lit. It might be a little too low at that point. I would say around 536. Yeah, 536 would make this probably the most lit inverted hammer you could have. Even though it looks good now, but if this breaks out, we're looking at a massive breakout here at some point. So that's everything I got, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to go in and check the family. I hope this update found you well. If you appreciate what I do, I'm XRP Future Millionaire. Please make sure to hit that like button. Consider subscribing to the channel and share this far and wide on YouTube or your other social media so that we can push through the algorithm and slap the analytics in the face and force YouTube to share this content. If you want to pay it forward and to the extra mile, I would love to see more in here in Tom's Army. I see some, but I would love to see the majority in Tom's Army. It's a way to pay it forward. You get absolutely nothing for it except to say thank you, Tom, for putting in your time. And hell, if you want to get the Telegram, you can get it if you join Tom's Army. How about that? But other than that, you can send a YouTube Super Chat if you want. But I'm just blessed you're all here. Hit that like button and be kind to each other. That's all I ask. Be kind to each other. And I will see you guys on the next live. And gals, I can't thank you all enough for allowing me this platform.